Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com for Wednesday, February 13th, 2008. Well, the rally continues on Wall Street, guys. No doubt about it. Today was a powerful up move across the board. The S&P was up 18, the Dow up 179, and the Nasdaq was up a cool 54 points approximately. Now, you guys know we've been talking about this rally for the last week now, and we first mentioned it in the video last Thursday and Friday that we expected the rally to come, and when that was basically when everyone else was calling for continued downside or weakness in the markets. But clearly, clear as day to us at least, you saw the psychological angles in the market be too bearish. You knew Options X week was going to be volatile, and it was going to go the opposite way of the crowd. The crowd was all looking to the put side in the market, which is the short side, to the bearish side. And anytime you have that combined with technical divergences across the board, and we saw tons of positive divergences in various indicators, both proprietary and regular technical indicators that we follow, you know you're going to have a little push up and continue today beautifully to the upside. Let's get a look at this chart here. This is the ES Futures chart, and this is the March 08 E-mini S&P 500, and we use the 10-minute to look at the intraday, and it gives us pre-market data and up to the close and so forth. So what you can see here, folks, is that the rally was really just a constant move up all day. We had one hiccup around 10 o'clock to 10:30 today, but the market quickly recovered, and I'm going to show you that quickly here. So right here we have the market moving up. This is actually going back as early as 3:30 in the morning, and you can just kind of see that you draw a trend line here. Look at how accurate that is, folks. You connect these lows to this low, to this low, and these are all connecting. And you have this one dip here, which dipped below the line, and it looked like we were going to dip and drop here, but we hit the 50 moving average. Alright, and when we hit that 50, we actually closed a tick below on the intraday chart, but we never confirmed the move down. To confirm a move down, you need to break the low, which is right there. You can see the next candle went down to that low, never broke, rallied us back above the 50. Once we got back above that trend line, we continued our move higher, and there we go. We retested that line again, moved up, retested that line again, moved up, and retested into the close. So you can see, just by drawing a trend line and connecting the first dots up to the market open, these first three, you could extend that line and pretty much find the general trend of the market all day. And as we said, we did have a dip here in the markets. You see a nice topping tail here, and that was a dead indicator we were going to have a little weakness coming in. And you see the markets did dip down there, but very quickly they recovered and moved up. But it's amazing, and I keep on showing these trend lines and everything because this is something that everyone can draw on your charts. You can take data throughout the market day on any stock, on any market fund, and you can just really look at it and see the trend, the channels, the movements, the patterns, the candles, and you can make assumptions based off these that can actually help you read the market for the rest of the day and for the coming days. So in any case, that's the way the market ended today. Very, very strong, continued rally. We noted yesterday that we were on a pivot point, and you guys will remember I said as we were talking about the rally, we needed to see whether or not this was going to continue, whether or not we saw a pause day today and maybe a small pullback or continued rally. Well, obviously we saw a continued rally here, and we're going to look at the Nasdaq, and well, let's look at the SPY first, as a matter of fact. Alright, so let's go to the daily, and again, this is the daily now, and what you can see is we paused right on that 20 moving average after a nice 3-day rally up here, as you can see, which was called again by us starting last week on these 2 down days that it was going to come. We saw that rally, and what we did yesterday was close directly on the 20 moving average, and that can mean two things. It can mean, number one, you see a small pullback, alright, and a consolidation before we continued the rally, or you just continue the rally, and we absolutely continued the rally today with a nice strong move up here, and now this establishes us above that 20 moving average. I'd like to see one more day that maintains. As long as tomorrow maintains us above that 20, I believe that 20 now becomes support, and we can look to build on a possible move higher in the next few days as well. And yes, we've been calling for the rally, I know, and the one thing I have to continue to point out is that in a bear market, these rallies can be short-lived. Ultimately, there is a small chance here we come up to this level or right around this level. At that point, when we do get up there, I believe it's going to be right around here, maybe slightly higher, right between these two lines to make a slightly higher high than this, but I think ultimately that's it, and then we see another drop in the market. So we may see a pause now. Whenever we move up this much, you guys know, those in the chat room I should say, you guys know how I feel. I always like to see consolidation. I wouldn't mind seeing a little pause right above this 20, which will establish the support line right here. And once you have established a support line for a couple days in a row, staying above that line, then you look for another push up. I wouldn't mind seeing that established first. I do think that there's a small chance we may have an opening push tomorrow based off of Baidu's earnings, but we'll have to continue to follow that, and I'll touch on that shortly. So in any case, a good push today to continue the rally. Now let's look to see whether or not we consolidate, which is a sideways to slightly lower move, which maintains a move on the markets that stays above the 20 moving average here on the SPY. And then as long as we stay in this channel here or continue to push up, you should see the market moving to this high, which will be resistance right around here. Ultimately, we may touch the 50 moving average on the upside, but let's wait and see. I think there is another shoe to drop at some point, which is going to take us back to these lows and maybe even lower, but it may have a week or two to go before that happens, all right? It may not happen until next week where we start to get weak again. All right, so let's take a look at some of these other charts here. Let's look at the NASDAQ and touch on that because that was the same situation here. Again, we talked yesterday how we touched that 20 moving average on the NASDAQ, and the question was, well, do we pull back and consolidate before making another attempt to get above the 20 moving average, or do we just go straight above? And today, solid day on the NASDAQ, up close to 54 points as we just took out that 20 to the upside. Now, one thing I do want to show you, and this is a great lesson just on technicals and understanding patterns and moving averages, notice how we were below the 20 moving average for this ginormous amount of time here. All right, and then basically we came all the way down here, we made a bottom, we retested that 20. The first time you hit any moving average, you expect a pullback, and I said this in the video right here on this day, to expect that pullback. Then the second time, you can often break to the upside. So we tested that moving average, we pulled back here, and then the next time is a very possible push through, and that's exactly what we did to the upside. Now again on this chart, I'm going to watch to see. We want to see, do we consolidate here? Do we continue to move up? The one thing we don't want to see is a close back below the 20. So as long as we can maintain that, and it seems to me that we have a good chance of that, it was a very powerful move on the NASDAQ today, then we should see continued upside momentum, whether or not we consolidate. And remember, consolidation is a sideways to lower trend for a couple days, maintaining the support, and again, support's right there, so we don't want to break below that. As long as we go sideways to lower, oftentimes it sets up like this, and then you ultimately have a move up in this range, another push higher. Again, you're going to hit resistance here on the chart right around here, and then ultimately you could see resistance come in right around here, which in my opinion the 50 moving average will have moved down to that level, and it could meet at that joining point, which would be a ton of resistance. And the first time you hit the 50 moving average, you can look for a short just the same as you looked for it right here on the first hit of the 20. All right, and again, you keep a small stop on it, so if you break through and close above, then you exit the position. No biggie. Take the small loss and move on. All right, there's ways to put the odds in your favor in trading, and that's all you're trying to do. You want to be the house. Maybe you don't win every time, but ultimately you want to have a better percentage of winners than losers, and you want to keep your losers small. Okay, take a look at Baidu here. Baidu had earnings after the bell, and we mentioned that today that there were two key things. Before the bell, there was retail sales, which really gave us a good push today as they came in better than expectations. And then after the bell, Baidu was the key, and we wanted to see whether or not we went up. And I will show you Baidu's after-hours chart, and we are seeing Baidu trading at $288 after closing at $261. It was up $15, almost $16 today, and is skyrocketing after hours on earnings, close to $287 in the $287 range right now, which is another $26 higher than it was, $27 higher than it was at the close. That's a phenomenal move. You cannot go wrong there. Baidu should help technology stay strong tomorrow, and we will look for a move up tomorrow in that in the tech sector again, unless something changes. Now we have initial claims tomorrow at 8:30 that could have a little impact on the markets. We'll have to continue to monitor that. But one thing we do want to focus in on is on the Baidu chart, you had this sideways to slightly up pattern. We closed above the 200 moving average today on that big push late in the day. The question now looks like we're going to gap up in this range somewhere up here. So we need to close above this 20 moving average and maintain it on Baidu, and that's going to be the key going forward on that stock chart. All right. So should we gap up and sell off and close back on this 20 tomorrow right around here, that would be a bearish sign, and you could look for another down move. As long as we close above this 20, then again, just like any market, you're going to look for a consolidation pattern or continued move up. If it doesn't do that, then you look to go on the downside for that stock. All right, folks. Let me just take a look at Apple here. We had a big, strong day in Research in Motion. Research in Motion had a great day. Look at this move up in Research in Motion, and up about $5 today. On Apple Computer, the same thing. We had a great move up there. All right, we're going to continue to watch certain sectors. First Solar had huge earnings this morning, and I want to focus in on that quickly. First Solar was up $53 today. Huge move up, and you can see this. This is a large stock. To be up $53 was a big percentage gain today. It made the solar sector very, very hot. All you that watch the videos that were in the Sunday night chat, we talked about SOLF being a super play. We talked about YGE. Both stocks in the last couple days are up 20%. So that was a huge call in the Sunday night chat. We did talk about how much we like those solar plays going across the board, and they did not disappoint. All right, just to quickly show you the YGE chart here. Look at this move in the last 3 days, folks. Since the Sunday night chat, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's a big-time move. You're talking about from $18 to about $24 to $25. All right, folks, have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.